I found one. I got the email. I was awarded the contract. It was about a 97% profit margin.
Wow.
And it was a life-changing amount. Guys, I went from being a high school dropout who's been arrested to becoming a doctor. Kissy, I made a huge mistake.
Okay.
I nearly lost my life.
Today's episode, I have the resiliency doctor with me who is going to talk about his journey in the healthcare wellness space, which led up to a current contract that he has with Health and Human Services. So, Reynolds, you have the floor. Welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, it's a pleasure to be in your presence. I learned so much from everything that you put out. Big shout out to all the other government contract influencers online as well, because the advice you guys give, it helps us so much at the beginning level. And I just love the way like the thumbnails and the titles are exactly what we were looking for when we were looking for it, and it helped us change our lives and change the lives of our families. So big shout out to you, Kizzy. Big shout out to everyone else online. Big shout out to Fox Wade and everybody just pouring out to the community. And on behalf of the viewers, thank you.
Oh, I love that. I love that because it takes a village. And that's one thing that's really important in this space, and probably the reason why you've had success in government contracting is because you are a continuous learner. But please share with us, because I know in your healthcare space, I know of you, you have a very strong Instagram presence, but talk to us about just who you are, what space you're in. Tell us about, life in Queens. Please share with us, because I know we all want to know more.
Yeah, thank you for that. So basically, my name is Reynolds Kairos. I have over 20 years of experience working as a healthcare provider in the city of New York. I'm a man of service, worked as a paramedic, and eventually I got a doctorate degree in medicine. I'm a medical doctor. And my youth was basically being raised by a single mother in a poverty-stricken area, surrounded by addiction, trauma, violence, and I succumbed to a lot of these things, and my past is very different from my present. But I was able to turn my life around, and I went from nearly taking lives to saving lives in the operating room, to saving lives at their living room. When they call 911, I show up at their door. You could see all these credentials behind me. All the years of experience, and now I'm working. Well, me and Kizzy and the other government contracting professionals have something in common, that our favorite client has a budget of $0.9 trillion for fiscal year 2024. So I've noticed that there's a lot of opportunity within the government contracting space. I personally am very grateful for everything and everybody who comes in my path and adds value to me or teaches me something. And it goes without mention that the United States has improved my life, improved the life of my family. So I have this knowledge. I'm a subject matter expert in everything that has to do with resiliency and overall optimal health, and I'm trying to pay my blessings forward through the government at scale. So the United States government put food in my stomach. I was born and raised on government assistance. So now that I have this information, I'm eager to go ahead and provide it to the United States government and to anybody that can benefit from it. And that's somewhat of my backstory. I'm just here to pay my blessings forward. I'm here to share what works, because after trials and tribulations, I know exactly what people need to be healthy.
No, I love that. And so I would love to know, how did you learn about government contracting, and what was the first step that you took? I mean, especially given you're in healthcare, and it's not unique. There are a lot of people in healthcare who are interested, but how did you find out about it? What was the first step that you took?
Yeah, so the first step was listening to my conscience. I knew that I wanted to do something bigger than to prescribe medication to people that fall under an algorithm. I knew that I wanted to do more than just be a sonographer in the operating room or just typing away as a doctor in the charts. And I knew I wanted to do more than drive an ambulance, and somebody's got to do it. Shout out to everyone who's at the front lines. I still jump on the ambulance and moonlight every once in a while here in the Bronx. And by the way, I don't moonlight in Times Square or Park Slope. I moonlight on Grand Concourse and 170, which is one of the worst neighborhoods in all of New York City. So I'm still in the front lines. But what I'm trying to say is there's a more efficient way for you to reach the masses, and that's one of those vehicles is using the internet, kind of like what Kizzy's doing, using the internet, leveraging social media so you can reach more people. And another thing you can do to affect the masses is work with bigger corporations, whether it's in the corporate sector or the government sector. So me personally, I always like to go for the bigger things. I identify with being a leader, so I figured I feel like a business that's ready to do business with the government is a business that dotted their I's and crossed their T's. You know what I mean? Like they did everything by the book. They're doing good. They're paying their taxes. And I identify with being that type of person. So I decided to go ahead and work with the government. But it wasn't until I found the YouTube video. I was basically, I'm not the type to listen to music because music is it could be either a good or a bad influence. So I just usually watch a lot of videos, a lot of how-to videos, and I just listened to my conscience. I was like, hey, I know I could do better. I know I could do better. And I noticed that I was, for years, sitting in the wrong vehicle, Kizzy. I was in the wrong vehicle. I was on the wrong vehicle. I went knee deep into student loans. I did everything I was told to do. Guys, I went from being a high school dropout who's been arrested to becoming a doctor. That was with loans. That was with trials and tribulations. That was with difficulty. And I had the work ethic. I had the ambition, but it was in the wrong vehicle, if that makes sense. So now I'm extrapolating the wisdom, the work ethic, the self-development into business, and it's paying off handsomely in so many different ways. And that's how I got started in government contracting. I started listening to my conscience. I realized that I wanted to impact new people. I realized that I wanted to give back to the country that gave me so much. Then I found influencers and people like Kizzy Parks and Fox Wade online that give out so much value that I was like, this looks like the right vehicle. This looks like the vehicle I should get on. And now that I'm on it, for lack of better terms, I'm glad that I'm participating in part of this community.
I am too. I mean, did you find that it was super challenging to do the basics, register, get a cage code? Was it at all intimidating?
No, I mean, I guess my stress, my capacity to deal with stress is very high. So in my situation, I find everything to be easy. Like I always look at things like, hey, if you can do it, I can do it. I just got to figure out how to do it. So like I do martial arts as a hobby, so that helps me prepare with stress. I had a high stress career, high stress occupation. So when it comes time to like fill out documentation, I find it to be pretty easy. So a lot of times people get flustered, and it's understandable because, when I got my DUNS number, my UEI, there were a lot of questions, but in my particular case, I went through a lot of schooling. I have a doctorate degree in medicine, like I mentioned before. So like answering multiple choice questions is something that I'm used to.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that helped me a lot.
What about for those where that's not their case? Like maybe they had a similar upbringing, but they didn't end up becoming a medical doctor. What about somebody who's can relate and maybe they're watching and they're like, but I didn't take all these tests. I don't have an advanced degree. So what, I got to get a college degree now?
Nope. That's the great question you asked, because the reason I mentioned it is just so you can have an idea of my particular situation, but that has nothing to do with my success in government contracting, or it's maybe 5 or 10% of it. What really helped me was mentorship. What really helped me cut through the corners and write a proposal and give the right pricing and prepare my capability statement and do things the right way was mentorship. We're an interdependent society. Your strengths are my weaknesses. My strengths are most likely your weaknesses. We collaborate together and we're stronger together. So I realized this, and any endeavor that I take on, I always look to see who is the best mentor in that endeavor and who's up there, and then I seek their guidance.
which is terrific. And from what you shared before the interview, you have worked with Health and Human Services, and this is work in progress. So this is not a one and done kind of effort. This is work in progress. And I emphasize this because there's some information that won't be shared, but this is very typical. I mean, McDonald's isn't going to give you the recipe for their sandwich. I mean, you can go online and find some knockoff recipe. Amazon, they're not going to give you their margins. So I want everyone to be aware that as we continue with the discussion, that you may not get profit margin, you may not get this type of information, but I want you to understand is the journey. Like, your journey is so motivational and inspiring. You could have just taken your degree and you're like, hey, I'm done. Because you're married, you have children. Like, you could be doing all kinds of other things, but then you're like, I'm gonna do government contracting. So I just wanna add that in there as we're chatting, so people aren't like, why didn't they share this information? You're not gonna get that information, but you're gonna also know why when you're in that situation. So talk to us about Health and Human Services. What do you do for them? And how did you find out about them? I mean, maybe we know of them, or somebody saw.
Yeah, so basically, I got on Sam.Gov. I took a swing at a few opportunities at the state level, at the federal level, and I struck out. But I'm in a community of people that are also pursuing the same thing. So having a community environment, having mentors, staying tuned to content that is publicized, and watching Kizzy's channel, it was always very motivational to see, like, hey, keep going, you can do it. You could do, guys. Kizzy has made over $75 million in her company and has helped her students make over $3 million. So in your times of stress, you look at her and she's like, hey, I got the curly hair on my curly hair. You know what I'm saying?
It's popping today in Mexico.
I love it. So to me, in those times when I was striking out, I would look towards this type of content to be able to stay motivated. So that's the first thing. Like, I found opportunities. I was mentored through the process on how to do everything, and then I swung and struck out a few times. But then I found one. I got the email. I was awarded the contract. It was about a 97% profit margin.
Wow.
And it was a life-changing amount. I don't want to get into too much detail because
no, understand that.
Like Kizzy said, it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, 97%.
Yeah, originally, but my mentor was like, listen, don't focus on profit, focus on impact.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. It was the first contract I won. I wasn't like, okay, time to buy a car, time to do this. No, I was like, all right, how can I create jobs?
Right.
How can I reinvest this money in the area where I'm going to be working to stimulate the local economy? How can I use this blessing to make it more impactful than what the scope of work entails? Because remember, we're the subject matter experts. We're the ones here to teach you what you need to know. Yes, part of our duty is to execute on the scope of work. But if there's room for improvement, then, me personally, I'm not like, oh, they're not paying me for that stuff that I'm supposed to be doing, so I'm not going to do it. No, if it's got to get done, it's got to get done. And I'm glad my mentor gave me that advice. I'm glad that I took that advice and ran with it, because now it's opened the door to so many other opportunities that, I've always been glad to be alive, but right now I'm in the winning season for sure. You know what I mean?
No, I love that. Is there any way you can at least share, like, what area it was in, like without giving away too much?
Yeah, so my company focuses on, if you go into Sam.Gov and look at training, teaching, consulting, educational type of opportunities, this is the one that me and my team focus on.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
So we focus on things related to like employee health initiatives. We focus on health and wellness consulting. We have a huge background in trauma, suicide prevention, and everything that has to do with teaching people how to be healthy. without having to prescribe any medication. So it's like non-invasive health promotional type of initiatives.
Okay. No, that's perfect, because there's a lot out there, from employee assistance program to suicide prevention work to staffing on the medical side. I mean, medical is one of the top 5 areas in which the government spends. On the federal side, I can only imagine on the state side too.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of opportunity out there. I love it.
So, love that you love it. And I want to dig into something that you said, because I bet some listening were like, wait a minute, we're the expert, but what if I'm doing this middleman or make more money approach, or how am I supposed to be the expert if I'm not doing the thing? So I would like for you to talk about what that looks like, if you can, with your clients when you're the expert. Because what I want people to realize is, and to really lean into, the government is buying from us, right? So they're buying from us. So talk, if you can, provide an example where you're like, hey, this is an example of when I had to be the expert.
Yeah, sure. So my experience thus far, remember guys, I'm at the beginning stages of this. My company's only 3 years old. Before government contracting, I worked with private clients on a one-on-one basis for like executives and high achievers and things along those lines. But now that I'm working with the government, I know that there's a middleman strategy. I know that you can subtract out the work. But me personally, I don't want to sign something that I cannot fulfill. So if someone else wants to do that, then, you know, and you made, let's say, $100 million doing that, then by all means, you know, if that works for you, who am I to talk about it? But me personally, my company, what we do is we pursue contracts that we can execute on. But then we hire help that can, you know, make the team stronger. So what we focus on as subject matter experts is things that are within our wheelhouse, right? So then that way, for example, suicide prevention, it requires very specific certifications for you to go ahead and execute on suicide prevention training. I don't have that certification, but I can partner with another company that does.
Right.
But I know what there is to know about suicide prevention because of my healthcare experience. Does that make sense? But I'm not gonna hire like a general contracting team, because what if, you know, what if I don't have a back, I can't really do plumbing. I don't know anything. I don't know the first thing there is to know about plumbing besides that it's analogous to the circulatory system in the human body. You know, that's about it. You know what I mean? So that's our approach. As I grow, as we grow, as time progresses, I'm sure there will be discussions about, you know, becoming more efficient and not being the person that does the work on every opportunity. That way I could focus on, you know, expanding. So, but right now in this current stage, I focus on the work that I can participate in and just make sure that our clients get that touch, you know, because you've mentioned it in your videos. You don't want to send a subcontractor to go represent your company, you know, and they got a pizza stain on their shirt, you know. Well, so it's just like, that's where I'm at right now. Like, I'm making sure, because I'm in it for the long haul.
And so
Like,
I imagine, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say, like, to me, this is not about $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. My name is on the line. My reputation. So, you know, and I don't take it lightly. Like, I'm on Kizzy Park's YouTube channel. I'm not gonna make a fool of myself 6 months from now because she's indirectly vouching for me. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is, like, when I approach opportunities, I'm not interested in being blacklisted. I'm not interested in doing things for a quick flip. I'd rather not make the money. If it's gonna interrupt my integrity, I'd rather not make the money if it's gonna make me sell my soul, pretty much, you know.
I love that, because
Thank you.
Because not all money is good money. And there's this allure that, oh, government contracting is this fast, get rich quick, and you find somebody to do these things, which you can and which you do, and we've subcontracted. But it is refreshing when you have some knowledge about it. It is nice. It's refreshing because then if things go sideways, you're good. But what's beautiful is we all get to create our own journey. So whatever kind of business, whatever journey we want, we can do that in government contracting. And I suspect just given your credentials, which are beautifully displayed behind you, that really kind of eases the government's mind. You know, one thing that's important with government contracting is they'd like to minimize risk. And so when you have degrees or past performance or a certain certification, it's like, oh wow, this is great. We're not going to end up on Fox News, you know. So it really eases their mind. What other areas are you looking to get into? Because you talked about the long game, which is important because I think sometimes people just get caught up on, oh, I won a contract. You know, winning one contract is like selling one car. So what other areas are you looking to potentially expand into or to just grow in general?
Thank you. And by the way, I identify with wanting a quick contract. I identify with wanting money. You know, like I was born and raised on welfare, school loans, and all that stuff. I'm just trying to share wisdom that you're better off preparing for the long game, but that's just based on my personal experience. And our goals right now is to go ahead and integrate ourselves into solutions for the Department of Justice, for the Department of Veteran Affairs, and for departments. Like, you can go after numerous opportunities, but I think especially for us at this point in time, it's better to hyper focus on 1 to 2 agencies. So you can go wide or you can go deep. It's on you, whatever works for you. I personally work best working deep. So it's like building strong relationships with one institution, then focus on the next institution or the next agency, better yet. So other agencies, other goals that we have, like I mentioned, is the Department of Justice, the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Department of Defense. These agencies they put out solicitations that are within our, you know, eventually we want to go ahead and introduce ourselves as a firm that's results driven and evidence based. And that's what we are. They just need to figure that out, which is, you know, another goal is, like you mentioned, I have a heavy Instagram presence. I'm also going to be looking into joining that mentorship program that you joined for YouTube as well, because hey, yeah, I'm very familiar with the things you do, Kizzy, because I look up to you, by the way.
Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet.
Yeah, I do, for sure. So I know I'm familiar, and I see why there's so much growth, you know. So I want to be able to have similar results, and another goal is to continue to lean into social media, continue to lean into providing value to all people at different levels. Like, just because you're not a government agency doesn't mean I can't help you or give you a tip on how to be healthier and live a long, fulfilling life, you know?
I love that. And I love all of that because it speaks to what you said earlier about, like, it's not a quick cash grab. Like, you're there to help. How can you employ people? How can you help your community? How can you do more? And all of that speaks to it. I mean, we all have our different whys, but it sounds like that's like such a huge part of your why. I love that. And I love that you're interested in becoming more known. You know, with the government agencies, you know, you can take a path where they don't have to know you. You can bid 10, 20 bids a month and you can win. You can build a multi-million-dollar business, because I've seen it. You can easily do that. You can also take the approach of adding in the more social media and YouTube and going to events and capability briefs and dialing for dollars and all of those kinds of things. So it just adds to what you do because you have this proven track record by having the work, so they know, hey, we're gonna get high quality work here. I love this.
Kissy, you know, I made a huge mistake.
Okay.
When I was becoming a doctor, I prioritized professional development over personal development. I nearly lost my life. I was 70 heavier. My kidneys were failing me. I had an autoimmune disease that was through the roof. I had addiction problems with alcohol and pornography and things along those lines. Completely vulnerable here. And I was coursing a divorce. And that was because of having that one-sided look of like, hey, I got this goal, I want to make this money, I want to be a doctor, and I'm going to forget about everything else. And that's what happens. We hyper focus on what society deems as success, and we forget about ourselves in the process. So for me, just to give you guys context as to why I have this outlook, the first thing is I'm here to do God's work, right? And for you to be able to do it at a high level, you need to have 5 things under control. And this is something that me and my partner Anderson have spoken about. And it's your faith, family,
Got it.
your fitness, how resilient are you mentally and physically, your fulfillment, and your finances.
Love that.
So if you're making $20 million, you're most likely only focusing on the one. So you're a table that's unbalanced. So, you know, what I'm trying to say is like, when you give back, that's the other one. That's fulfillment, because you're fulfilled. You know how pleasing it is for content creators to go ahead and get that message like, yo, you changed my life.
Right.
That's fulfillment. That's what we're here for. If you notice, we are very, very, very intrigued and feel very good when we do what we're supposed to do. Think about the high that you have after working out or after helping somebody.
Yeah.
It's because it's in our software. You know what I mean? So that's I just wanted to put that out there, my people, that basically you could consider yourself successful, but if you're not successful at being a human, then are you really successful? Because once they take away everything you own, what you're left with is who you really are.
Right. That's deep.
Yeah, so I noticed this as I was becoming a doctor. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're so successful. You did it. Oh, wow. But I had suicidal thoughts. And I was thinking about killing myself. So when it comes to suicide prevention initiatives, I could talk on it. You know what I mean? From personal experience. And that's what I want to just share with people, that a lot of the point of views that are being shared here and the success comes from things that like the mindset, like how do you look at it? You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put that out there. It's more than just money.
Oh yeah, it's definitely more than just money. And I appreciate your vulnerability, because it is. I mean, I love how you broke it down to faith, family, fitness, fulfillment, and finance, because if they're off, I mean, especially addiction, all of them, if any of these are off, that true fulfillment, that true happiness, it's just not going to be there. I mean, this is one of many reasons I've taken the journey I have with government contracting. I don't really do much. I don't know how to best put it. All my team members, they run the companies, because that wasn't making me happy. It made me really sad. Super depressed. Not depressed, like super just sad. And like, ugh. I was like, this is what I built, and I don't like it. And so I had to really unpack what all that really meant. And so it's one of many reasons I'm here in Mexico for multiple months, for half a year.
¿Cómo está el español?
Un poquito.
Está. She's like, that's my default answer. Un poquito.
I got help. I'm here. I got Google Translate.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got enough. But it's serious. I mean, it's true. Like it's like, and you hear it. Like I even think. I mean, I'm just going to share this. Like I think about Kate Spade, you know, and I think she lived in New York. I don't know if people. She well-known fashion designer, had a fashion line. I don't remember if she sold it or not. I think her husband even designed, and she committed suicide. You know, it's like it's like this is real. This is real. Like what you're sharing is real. This is so beyond real. Like I love that you took that time to just get all this together, because you're not divorced, you're not overweight, you seem like your health is amazing, because your face is glowing and amazing.
I'm 38 years old, by the way.
And you're aging in reverse. You know?
Yeah.
Because you can always tell when somebody's face looks different. You can just feel it. Like you can feel you're healthy and all of those things. So I want to recognize you and share that, and with everyone listening. Because again, it's not about, oh, there's money and I got these things. Then what?
Yeah, it's very important to share that, man, because we could get sidetracked. You know, there's a lot of competition for our attention. And some of the people that are putting out the most funds for advertising themselves are big corporations that are influencing you directly or indirectly to purchase their product. You know what I mean? So, and then you're like, oh my God, I didn't purchase the latest Audi, or I didn't purchase the SVJ Ferrari or Lamborghini or whatever it is, and then now I'm a loser, you know. And then you
Right.
you you start to think like, oh my, you know. But I think if you have a Ferrari or a yacht and a plane, I think that's awesome, and I strive to have that. I actually have it on my vision board, but I am very conscious that I'm not gonna give a damn about it if and when I'm on the liver transplant list.
Right.
So it's like, if you know your eyesight that is allowing you to perceive the screen in front of you and the sense of hearing has no price, you need to understand the most valuable things in life are priceless. So don't, as you go ahead and proceed to get your white picket fence and help the government and want to pay off your school loans, do it. You got my support. DM me on Instagram. I'll teach you everything I know. But at the same time, make sure you do it while taking care of yourself, and don't fall. Don't. I hope it does. I hope what nearly happened to me doesn't happen to you, and I hope what has happened to so many successful people, that they ended up committing suicide because they weren't fulfilled. And it's unfortunate, but that's the whole reason why you should stay tuned to YouTube channels like this, because you are going to receive information that is going to not only improve your bank account, but improve your life. Because Kizzy has shared information about things that she dealt with and how she dealt with it. And she's always posting on her Instagram, working out and all this stuff. So it's good to be around growth-minded people, even if it's virtual.
It's key. I mean, like one of the main reasons
I need it.
I mean, I need it too. That's why I love your content too, because it's very inspirational and it's really important to me. Like I'm here for many reasons. And one of the reasons is, I got to lose like 36 pounds. So I'm not at like some fat camp, y'all. Nothing against a fat camp. I'm just saying, I'm here to lose weight, to work out, to have fun, because I wasn't having fun in my life. Like there was no fun. There was no there may be things where you're like, well, you went to a Jay-Z concert, you saw Beyonce, like, okay, yeah, but I mean like real like fun, like the fulfillment. Like I would add fun to yours. I would make a 6. Like there was no fun. And so I'm here for fun. And there's so much fun and community and so when that was missing, oh my gosh, like I was not who I am. So it's key. It's very important. And I like being able to share that because I'm not gonna just front, like show you, oh, here's me like lifting weights and trying to do it for the gram. Like, no, like my workout was horrible. It was horrible today. The workout was horrible. I'm exhausted. I haven't even eaten yet. I feel like I'm gonna fall out. This is real life. I gotta make my eggs, and then the damn grocery store didn't have the eggs I wanted, so I gotta eat the eggs that I have. People are probably like, what is happening? But this is real life, Real life in Tulum, Mexico. So yeah, you got to have all of that centered. And manifest as chef. I'm gonna have this guy doing some chef work for me soon, so I don't have to be starving.
So
But go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I know exactly how to make and help someone lose 2 to 3 pounds of body fat while simultaneously gaining muscle per week.
Well, that's awesome.
And the way is math.
Oh, okay, math. Break it down for us.
I got you. Macronutrient manipulation.
Oh, yes.
So we hear about it. There's this app called MyFitnessPal. So each pound of fat has, I guess we started with government contracting, but
listen, this still applies though. It still applies, and it also, what it does is it shows your expertise.
Thank you. All right, so let me go ahead then. Hopefully this will help. This is what I would do, because every once in a while my weight fluctuates as well, whether I'm cutting weight or gaining weight to gain more muscle, for my martial arts and all that stuff. Basically, each pound of fat that our body holds has 3,500 calories. If you eat in a 500 calorie deficit per day, that's automatically losing 1 pound of body fat per week, because you're eating, if each pound of body fat is 3,500 calories, and you're cutting your calories by 3,500 over 500 per day, then that's 1 pound of body fat. And then you add the physical activity, you add intermittent fasting, you add, a few other things, and you can lose 2 to 3 pounds of body fat per week, guaranteed. And that's just by leveraging the math. But you have to take extra step for that, which is basically logging your food on the app and also weighing your food, so you can make sure that you're because if we're in business together and we're trying to split the profit, we have to use a calculator.
Right, you do.
It's all numbers. So numbers, I could lie, anybody could lie, but the numbers won't.
No.
So this is why macronutrient manipulation is so good, because with the numbers, you're able to adjust your weight as you see fit. Of course, it's ideal to do it with someone that knows how to do it, so then that way they can help you prevent any mistakes or losing any progress and things along those lines.
Well, this is good. I mean, I think this is good, and it's a nice way to kind of tie the bow with our discussion today, because it shows that where you begin is definitely not where you end. But also, as you're going on the journey, there's so many things to add to your toolkit. And I just, again, want to reiterate, I love the faith, family, fitness, fulfillment, finance. I add in my fun to that. I love that you shared that. So you offered for anyone to reach out to you on Instagram. So please share your Instagram handle.
Sure. Thank you for that. It's the Resiliency Doctor.
Yes. Resiliency Doctor. On Instagram.
Doctor. Yes, ma'am.
And I love your content, because he posts about his kids, posts about his wife, he posts about life, he posts about everything. I mean, and I like to reiterate that, because often people will say well, I'm married, I have kids, I have this, I have a dog, I have a cat, it's sunny. It's we all have these things in our life, and it's and it's you got to just take out that and you can still do things in life. So I love having guests like you on, because you have a life, you're living the life that probably many people watching can really, really relate to, and you're not only succeeding, but you're thriving, and you're going to do even more. What you put on your vision board will come true. You'll have your jet, you'll have your yacht, you'll have all of those things. You're gonna, buy back the block and do all these things, So, no, I love that, Reynolds. Well, again, thank you so much for being here. You're first one here this time live from Mexico.
Thank you for everything you do. And just to reiterate, like I said, we need you, Kissy. So please keep putting out content, and we're here. We're staying tuned. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.